know about Association of Indian Management Schools? It's a 34-year-old networking body of B schools in India, having a membership of about 600 top management institutions. AIMS focuses on professionalization of management education, protects interests of B schools, represents management institutions at national and international forums, financially supports members in academic events, funds research projects on management, disseminates management-related knowledge through its annual Management Education Convention, conferences, seminars, roundtables and workshops, organizes free weekly webinars on knowledge sharing and inspiring young leaders sessions for management faculty and students, supports B schools in admissions through Atma, AIMS test for management admissions. Visit https://atmaims.com for more details. Publishes a biannual AIMS Journal of Management. Visit https://aimsjournal.com for more details. Circulates a quarterly e-newsletter on AIMS activities. Conducts workshops on case writing. Encourages AIMS members to be part of decision-making processes as members of chapter management committees and the executive board. Encourages students' participation in free weekly quiz competitions by providing support to interested institutions. Facilitates networking and interaction among B schools. Why would you like to remain a non-member of AIMS? Pay a very low one-time membership fee and enjoy many lifetime benefits. Visit https://aims.org.in for more details.
Okay. Welcome to all of you and greetings to the Inspiring Young Leaders session on the topic Shedding Light on Dark Stores. Right? So we have with us Mr. George Joseph Kalayil. He is our honored resource person for this Association of Indian Management Schools Inspiring Young Leaders session today. I'll just briefly introduce himself. So sir is an assistant professor in marketing at SCMS Cochin School of Business since December 21. He holds a degree in electronics and communication engineering from Bhartiyar University and an MBA in marketing from Amrita School of Business, Coimbatore, during which he also completed his internship at ICICI Bank, Mumbai. He comes with a rich industry experience of more than 18 years, spanning verticals such as retail and education. His stint in retail, which is almost 8 years, with companies such as Spencer's and Hypercity, which includes roles in operations, buying and merchandising, category management across Chennai, Kochi, Trivandrum, and Mumbai. He was given the Rising Star Award during a stint at Spencer's. He was the category manager for FMCG, which contributed more than 50% of the total revenue. He was also responsible for dealing with the vendors like HUL, Procter & Gamble, ITC, Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Godrej, Dabur, you name it, and the big brands were his clients, right? So he had a notable achievement as a category manager for FMCG for maintaining the damages of less than 0.25% of the total category sales over a 3-year period. Okay, so While his geographic role at Spencer's was a regional one, he graduated to a national role at Hypercity with the top management companies like PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, HUL, Dabur, Tata Tea, Barley Agro, Red Bull, and the like. He is a certified trainer in retail and has taken more than 100 training sessions for the frontline employees. He also served as the regional manager of Time, an organization of eminence in the field of secondary education, while he was heading the preschool division, having a franchisee network of 65 centers. And under him, Kerala was the leading region nationally in terms of revenue, profitability for the company. He extensively traveled across India, length and breadth of Kerala, and is very familiar with the cultural nuances of each region. He is a passionate academician, a mentor, and presently a research scholar at the prestigious School of Management Studies at NIT Calicut. He is an avid sports enthusiast and a proud alumnus of St. Xavier's Collegiate School, Kolkata. He has facilitated courses at SCMS Cochin in his current academic role in integrated marketing communication, in tourism marketing, in operations management, in supply chain management, retail store operations, project management, and lifestyle marketing. He has guided student projects, handled a couple of management development programs for MSMEs and industry practitioners, authored a couple of book chapters on higher education, and presented several national and international conferences. He's also the placement coordinator and the nodal officer for innovation and entrepreneurship. And he organizes talks for prominent entrepreneurs, boot camps, ideation workshops, etc. Thanks to his efforts, the students of SCMS School of Business got an exclusive chance to be onboarded to INS Vikrant, the indigenous aircraft carrier of the Indian Navy. So, that's briefly about him. So, we'll be starting his session, and all the participants are cautioned that, they cannot unmute themselves in the Zoom chat box. After the session is over, which will span around 45 minutes, right? Then there will be a question and answer session for 15 minutes, and the attendance link will be also circulated. So those candidates who only filled up the feedback form and be there for the session, they will be handed over the certificate. Okay, and you are requested to post your questions in the chat box, and also the streaming will be on YouTube channel, so you can write your questions there as well, right? So I would like to thank here our speaker, Mr. George, and also Association of Indian Management Schools, Mr. Sudhir Sarma, especially the president of AIMS, and all the board members, AIMS Secretariat, and all of you participants for attending this session. And I'm sure that Professor George would deliver a great session today. Over to you, Professor George.
Thank you, Dr. Subrata. Happy to be part of a session which is moderated by somebody from Kolkata. Like I was telling him just a while earlier. So brings back very fond memories since I spent my formative years over there. Anyhow, I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, you are. Please continue.
So without further ado, I will quickly share my screen. I hope the screen is visible.
Yeah, it is. Please start.
So it's I guess all of y'all can see a dark
The screen is not visible.
Okay. Yes, that's intentional. So I guess all of you all can see a dark screen in front of you, but not to worry. The topic for the day, even though it sounds dark on paper, it's got a lot of light, and that is what we will be discussing today in the next 40 minutes, 40 odd minutes, shedding light on dark stores. And that's the topic for the day, which I will be talking on. I'll try to shed some light on dark stores based on the whatever little knowledge that I've gained in my experience in retail. So coming to the session, I would like to thank first of all Association of Indian Management School AIMS and SCMS Cochin School of Business for giving me this opportunity to take this session, to conduct the session on something which is really close to my heart. Retail is where I actually started my career, and even though before starting it, I didn't know anything about retail, and everything that I've learned is on the job. And this is a topic which has intrigued me, like a lot of y'all. Somebody was saying that it's a very intriguing topic, and this is something which I wanted to share with everyone. So thank you once again. Now, okay, so I will probably just get to the title straight away and just tell you what exactly is dark store. Okay, so dark stores, like I said, it's not as dark as it sounds. It actually gets the name from being dark, that is. So when you say dark, it's not the literal meaning of the word dark. It is close to public. So unlike a typical store, which you go to, a typical retail store, you go to where as a customer you can go and buy and shop. A dark store is closed to customers. Cannot go. So you or me, unless we are of course employees, we cannot go in there and buy. So what are they used for? So dark stores are basically used for fulfilling online orders, right? So that is how that is the connotation for the name. And we'll come to we'll take the session in a way where we actually address the 5 W's on the one H. So the 5 Y's on the one husband, like we very likely say. So we will try to take the session in that format as to why, how, what, where, when. We have already addressed the what. And so this would probably give you some idea as to why exactly this is such an emerging concept currently. Now, yes. So before we start, I would like to take a quick poll. And what I will do is I will paste this link in the chat box. I will paste this link in the chat box. I hope everyone can see that link. So maybe you can take 2 minutes to fill that link. It's a very simple poll. It has got just 2 questions with very, very simple choices. I hope everyone was able to open the link. Yes, could somebody just confirm that if you're able to open the link? Yes, no. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So maybe you can take 2 minutes to fill that. And we'll come to the results of that at the end of the session. Okay, we'll just keep the suspense on. So we'll show you the results at the end of the session. Okay, so if everyone is done, can we continue? Would I get a yes or a no? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so we will keep that poll aside. I hope it was quite simple. Now, the very same questions which I put to you, I did a pre-session survey. Okay, so I did a survey before the session, and that was on LinkedIn. So it was a kind of a convenient method to do it. And so these were the responses which I got. So given a physical format of choice, where would you shop? Given that you're doing it for the first time, and given that the distance is the same for all three from your house, and um, given that you're looking for the same items available in all three formats, so where would you shop? That was the question. That was the first question, and that's how the people responded. Yeah, so just probably keep that with you. And the next question was more to do with online shopping, and predominantly with food and grocery and FMCG. And it asked whether you have ordered any of these items and received it the same day. So received the delivery the same day, and those are the results. Okay, so this was the pre-session survey which was done. We'll come back to the results of the survey which we did at the end of the session. Okay, so that was just to set the ball rolling. Yes, so I'm a believer of setting the context before going into any topic. It's very important for us to understand what is the context in which we are actually talking about dark stores and quick commerce. Now let me put a disclaimer out here. There are a couple of disclaimers. One is we are predominantly talking from the Indian context. Okay? Even though this is a global phenomenon, we are predominantly talking from the Indian context. And number two, even though we may slip in a few global examples now and then, but predominantly this presentation was all about the Indian context. And number two, we are specifically looking at food and grocery as a category. Okay, so there are a lot of categories, different categories in retail, but we are predominantly looking at the food and grocery category per se. So organized retail in India, what is the market? So 2019, 2026, 2030. Now this is where it is estimated to reach. And of this organized retail in India, then approximately roughly 50 to 60%. In fact, I was talking to one of my friends in one of the top retailers in the country, and he also confirmed this fact that 50 to 60% of the total retail market comes from food and grocery. Okay, so that is what. So 50% of these figures is what we are actually looking at in terms of food and grocery. And if you see organized retail, why we emphasize on the fact that it is organized retail is because if you see the pictures on the top left and right, you can see the distinction. So you have organized retail on the left, and you have the unorganized sector, which is the kirana shop on the right. And we are talking about the organized part, or the modern retail format to speak. And organized retail in India consists of single brand outlets, multi-brand outlets, and so on and so forth. You have different formats, different ways in which it is being executed, and the contribution to GDP and the percentage of total retail market. So that is around 12% in 2019. And we'll come to that in a later slide as to what it is right now. Yeah. Now, evolution of modern retail. Okay, so like we all know, barter system is how it all started. So goods exchange for goods. So that was the step one, or the phase one of the retailing system, so to speak. Now, fast forwarding to 1991. So that was a landmark year in India. Landmark for the fact that liberalization or the economic reforms, predominantly because of then Prime Minister and the Finance Minister, that combination actually brought in a set of reforms which actually transformed this industry, transformed a whole lot of other industries, but it did transform this industry. And because of which, if you can see, that market at that point of time was expected to grow phenomenally or exponentially. At that point of time, When I actually joined the retail in 2005, and my boss or my superiors used to call it the sunrise industry. So they kept telling me that even though I didn't know anything about retail when I joined, they kept telling me that you have joined the right industry because it is the sunrise industry. So we'll see where the sun is right now. Cut to again the late 90s and early 2000, you had a springing up of brick and mortar stores. So you had physical stores with all these brands which you can see below you, and there was a mushrooming in numbers of each of these brands wanted to open as many stores as possible, and that is what store is a profit center in retail. That is late 1990s, early 2000s. Now, another thing which is related to our topic of dark stores and quick commerce is I wanted to touch upon this point of home delivery of groceries. How was it back then? So in 2005, I'm saying this from my experience. So in 2005, when I joined, and I was actually put in a store as a trainee, and this is what we had. So we had these three equipments in front, which you see. We had the normal telephone, we had the keypad phone, and the so-called the phone, which was an improvisation of the dial-up phone. So this was there at the store, and the customer used to. I'm just telling you how it used to happen then. So the customer used to actually call up on this landline, and there used to be a store employee who used to manually take down the order on a piece of paper. And if supposing the order was given today, the delivery would happen the next day. So that is like 24 hours or maybe even more. So there was no guarantee that it would happen within 24 hours. And again, there was a huge limitation in terms of the area to which this delivery would be catering to. So they couldn't go very far off from the store. So it had to be really close, maybe a kilometer at the max, at the radius of a kilometer or two. Because back then, store staff also, it was very difficult. You needed staff in the store, and the same staff had to go and do these deliveries. So it was really difficult as far as the store was concerned to actually allocate staff for home delivery. So this is what was the scenario in the, I would say, the early part of 2000. Okay, about around the same time is when there was this company by the name of Amazon, and which actually started off by selling books, and Amazon did its first online sale in the year 1995. And after that, we all know what happened. So so this was around the same time. So mind you, what I'm talking about here is the Indian context. This is something which happened far away in the US at around the same time. So you can gauge the difference where US was and where India was at that point of time. Cut to 2007, and now you have technology catching up. You have another variable called technology which catches up, and you have 3G launch. You have the entry of the smartphone and the beginning of the so-called e-commerce revolution, wherein what we just spoke about, what Amazon sold online, now became a reality as far as India is concerned. So mind you, it took around 12 years for us to actually jump onto that bandwagon. Okay, so this is the year 2007, and what you see on your phone, what you see on your screen is actually the first smartphone which came out from HTC, and 2012, another landmark year for retail. So 1991 and 2012, I would say, are the landmark years in retail. 2012 is when foreign direct investment in multi-brand retail was allowed up to 51%. Well, then it was below 50%. They had allowed it only up to 49%. And 2012, the government finally said, yes, okay, up to 51%. Foreign brands can come in multi-brand retail, and that brought in the Walmarts, the Amazons, and everyone into the space. And that is when that incidentally coincided with the 4G launch, and that is when e-commerce also started gaining momentum. And you see that shows in your graph the online retail market size and the growth from 2007-8 to 2015-16. Now, fast forward to present, I would say present or maybe a few years, 1 year, 2 years back, and we have 4G, so we had 3G, 4G, and now we had the 5G launch, which actually triggered the beginning of something called Q-commerce. From e-commerce, it became Q-commerce, which stands for quick commerce. And this, unfortunately or fortunately, coincided with the pandemic. And we all know what happened during the pandemic. So this is where Q-commerce or quick commerce actually finds its roots in the 5G launch, and as a catalyst, you had the pandemic actually propelling it to a bigger level. Now, what has happened as a result of all this? As a result of all this, what has happened is in 2005, when I actually joined the industry, organized retail as a share of the total retail market was only about 3%. Today, in 2024, it has actually grown and is close to 20%. When I say organized retail, it is the modern format retail store plus the online channels or the so-called omni-channel retailers. So all put together, 20%, and it is growing. Okay, 20%, and it is growing. And this is a young, inspiring young leaders session. So for all those youngsters who are watching this, I come across many youngsters who really, who are not very keen to take up a career in retail because they feel they'll go in a store and then they'll have to do all kinds of work. But I feel I hope these figures have been able to maybe inspire you in some way to actually, look at this industry in a different way, right? Because there is so much at stake. It is growing, and the market size is huge, and there is such a huge potential for the industry to grow, and for as an employee, for the employee to also grow along with the industry. Yes. So from e-commerce to quick commerce. So if I have to give you a kind of a timeline, so to speak, or a sequence of events which happened. So you had probably towards the beginning stages of e-commerce, probably delivery used to take about 1 week, 5 days. And then you had the Amazon services which came in, and then they said we will give you the same day delivery. And then you had Swiggy coming in, which and where they said that they will give you delivery in 30 minutes. And now you have these startups like Zepto, who say that, okay, I forget about 30 minutes and forget about same day delivery. I will give you delivery in 10 minutes. Okay, so that is what, so 1 week has actually come down to 10 minutes. And that is basically the crux of e-commerce to quick commerce. And if this was a very interesting slide, which I actually came across, and that gives you a very clear picture of the difference. So in e-commerce, where delivery takes about 2 to 5 days, even more, here you're looking at less than 1 hour delivery. You have diverse product baskets in e-commerce, whereas here you have a limited range of products, limited assortment. Sticks that we use in e-commerce is predominantly four-wheelers, trucks, two-wheelers, whereas over here you are looking at mostly two-wheelers, electric vehicles, and on-foot deliveries. E-commerce actually uses large warehouses and distribution centers, whereas quick commerce is looking at mini warehouses, stores, or what we are now calling the dark stores. Okay. Final point: e-commerce actually caters to a broader geographic area, whereas quick commerce actually looks at local fulfillment or hyper-local fulfillment, so to speak. So, in a nutshell, where discount matters in e-commerce, It is speed or time that actually matters in quick commerce. So that's the essential difference between both, and that is what we are seeing over a period of the last 20 years, where people predominantly in certain pockets. I would not say that quick commerce is actually penetrated the entire country, so to speak. No, it does not call on that, but in pockets where it is available, it is catering to people, it's catering to customers who really need things, or who need their deliveries in quick time. Okay, so that is where this 10-minute delivery has come up, or the concept of 10-minute deliveries has actually come from. Now, if you look at the evolution, so from the barter system to brick and mortar, to the brick and mortar stores or the physical stores, to e-commerce, to quick commerce, what has happened is actually nothing short of, you can call it the magical word. So no, this is a word which we keep using, but if I have to, if you have to ask me, this is my take on this whole transition which has happened. So innovation. So somewhere down the line, retailers, companies, everyone have put their heads together and they have actually innovated. And the quick commerce or dark stores is a result of that innovative thinking that has happened. Okay, it is nothing short of an innovation. It is one model trying to be an improved version of the older model. So that is what this whole transition signifies to me, and that is a beautiful. That is something which is beautiful about this concept. And we don't know now, the way things are moving at lightning speed. We don't know, like tomorrow what is in store. We don't know. Quick commerce is an emerging trend. Like I said, it has not penetrated the entire country, but it is there, certainly there in certain pockets. So we'll have to. It's a very interesting space which we need to watch out for. Okay, now coming to dark stores. So dark stores, you also call this a hyper local micro fulfillment center. So it is highly localized. It is spread over a smaller geographic area, and this is to give you a pictorial representation of how a dark store looks. It actually resembles a warehouse. It will probably be a miniature version of a bigger warehouse, and not very customer friendly. You can see it from that picture that it is not very customer friendly. It is basically just for employees to walk around and do the work, pick the orders, pick the goods which are ordered. How is it related to quick commerce? It has got a two-way relation. Yeah. So now quick commerce actually works in tandem with, or in synchrony or symphony with dark stores. Okay, so how do they do it? How do they do it under 60 minutes? How does delivery reach us within 60 minutes or within 10 minutes for that matter? So you have the order, the customer searching at the top. You have the customer searching. He orders mostly on his mobile using an app, and in almost parallelly or in instant time, without any delay, the dark store receives that order, collects the items, delivers, and it comes to the customer's doorstep. So all this entire process happens within 60 minutes, and in some cases, that is where we really cannot verify the figures as of now. But as per some companies claim, they do this entire process of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps in as less as 10 minutes. And that is where this whole notion of quick comes in. Okay. So what are the categories, what are the major categories which actually are used in quick commerce and which you will find in a dark store? You will find all these categories, but like I said in the beginning, we are predominantly looking at the grocery, the food and grocery part of it. Of course, there are medicines, there are restaurant deliveries, there are frozen deliveries, flowers, all this. So one thing which you see in common across all these categories is that these are all products which have a very limited shelf life. So they need to be ordered, they need to be delivered quickly. Okay, so you will not see maybe garments coming into quick commerce, or you will not see electronic goods appliance coming into. You will not see automobiles coming into commerce. Okay, so those are categories which are out of bounds from quick commerce. Quick commerce will include categories where you have limited shelf life and you need to get those things really fast. Okay, and in that we are focused on food and grocery. Like I said, food and grocery constitutes around 50 to 60% of total rate of the total retail space. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are. Please continue.
Okay. Thank you. Now, dark stores, the how. Okay. So, where are these stores actually located? So, you see populated areas of cities, and you will find a dark store. Okay, like a few months back when I was in Bangalore, probably right opposite where I was staying, I was very surprised to see a dark store, and it is not necessarily on the high street. So, which means unlike a store which is open to customers, where you will find it on maybe on the high street or where you'll find it in a very prominent location. This will be probably much inside. They are really not bothered about the customer finding them or not, and they will be tucked inside. Fulfillment of orders is faster in dark stores, given that they are now located within the city or probably close to the city limits, and that's far that happens quicker than the traditional store. If a traditional store had to actually deliver the same product. Okay. Now coming to the traditional supply chain, and then we'll come to the dark store supply chain. Okay, so here we talk about the farm, which is but the farm can be replaced by a manufacturer also, or any company who is supplying. So from the farm, you go to the wholesaler, and then you go to the distributor one, sometimes the distributor two, and then that goes to the supermarket or the retailer. We say, and then it goes to the final consumer. And in between all this, you have an online marketplace also where you can order online and the supermarket delivers to you. Either the supermarket delivers to you or the distributor delivers. So this is the traditional flow of the supply chain. When it comes to a dark store, okay, so you have a few elements which get removed from this entire chain. So you have the farm or the manufacturer on the left who is supplying to the wholesaler and then goes to a distributor. The second distributor gets cut off in the whole process. The supermarket gets cut off, so which means the retail store gets cut off, and your online marketplace also gets cut off because you are directly giving orders online to the dark store. So you have around 3 intermediaries which actually get removed in the dark store model compared to the traditional supply chain, and that actually helps in improving efficiency and optimizing the whole operation. Yeah. Again, just to give you, like I said, how do they do it in 10 minutes? So this is the order flow. If you see from the left to the right, a user places the order on the app. So that's if you take it as 0 minutes. And then the order is immediately displayed on the screen. So within that 0th minute itself, the order comes onto the screen in the dark store. And the employee, there's no delay. He picks it up. And now this is debatable. Now here it says about 1 minute, could be 1 minute, could be 2 minutes, could be 5 minutes. But he does it in real quick time. The point to be noted is he does it in real quick time. And within 3 minutes, you have the delivery partner, the person who is in charge of giving the goods to the consumer reaches there between 3 to 5 minutes. And subject to traffic, you the order is delivered within 10 minutes. So this 10 minutes could probably be 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It will probably go up to an hour also, subject to delays happening in these few steps. So this is the whole process. So this is how it works. So the order goes directly to the dark store employee. Yeah. And this is obviously driven by technology. So technology is a big enabler in this whole process. So why do we need dark store? So one, of course, from all this, we can easily conclude that speed. Like we said, today customers want, consumers, especially in certain pockets, want things quicker. They expect immediate delivery, speed, relevant products. When I say relevant products, the dark store is predominantly looking at food and grocery, and it is looking at a core assortment within food and grocery. Okay, something which is akin to the Pareto principle. So the Pareto principle says that 80% of the sale or 80% of the sale comes from 20% of SKUs, or 80% of the sale comes from 20% of customers. Similarly, 80% of the sale, or 80 to 90% in some cases, would be coming from this core assortment. And so dark stores would be carrying only relevant products which are of everyday use. So daily essentials in food, in FMCG, or non-food, in personal care, household needs. They would carry only the essentials. They would not be looking at specialty items. They would not be looking at something like gourmet or something like that. They would be only looking at the core assortment, which would probably contribute about 80 to 90% of their sale. It's 24/7. So these dark stores are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there is no full stop to operations like a regular physical store. It offers super convenience. So that's the highlight of, because it is quicker, and because it has got relevant products, it is available 24/7. Obviously, the fallout of all this is it gives super convenience. There's a huge tier 2, tier 3 market needing to be tapped. And of course, you have reduced overheads compared to an open to customers. We'll come to that. We'll see the financials in a while, and we'll know what we're talking about. But there's a flip side to dark stores also. So as a customer, you would like to touch and feel the product. So dark store does not allow you to do that. So you are ordering on your app based on a picture which is coming on the phone, and the employee picks what they feel is good. So you are dependent on the employee to pick what is good, rather than you going to the shop and picking something for yourself. So the touch and feel factor is completely absent. Transportation costs, of course, because you are completely relying on logistics. Transportation costs would be on the higher side. This is currently limited to certain urban pockets in metro cities. Like, there is a small video which I'll be showing you where you will clearly understand that quick commerce is currently only limited to the metropolitan cities. So when I say metropolitan cities, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi is where it is actually springing or mushrooming. And today morning I was talking to a friend, like I said, in a leading retailer, and who works in leading retailer, and he said that even though Kerala, a place like Kerala, we are in Kerala right now, a place like Kerala, where they had actually thought of opening up dark stores, they have actually gone back. They have gone back on that plan, and they are now opening more and more physical stores which are open to customers. So that is another flip side of dark stores. You have a loss of social contact and bonding. People like to go out, and shopping is an excuse for them to go out. Dark stores is again very much in the nascent stage. It has a huge journey to. It has a huge way to go, and journey is, the destination is far, far away. It requires investment in infrastructure. It does. You need to invest in dark stores. You need to invest in properties, and of course, you need to invest in technology. So that is the flip side of dark stores. Now, financial implication. I'll quickly run you through this. If you don't understand this side, it's okay. I mean, this is basically what I was referring to when I said reduced overheads compared to an open to customer store. The last point. And so, if you see the store which is open to customers, if you look at a trading area of, let's say, 3,000 square feet with a margin of 20%, and OPEX is the operational expense, which is from a retailer, from a food and grocery retailer, it needs to be either 150 rupees per square feet or below. So that's the norm. And then you have a breakup. So that 150 rupees of operational expenditure is actually broken up into rent, salaries, power, shrinkage, and miscellaneous. And based on your margin, you have a break-even sale of around 22.5 lakhs for a 3,000 square feet store. But what happens when you actually now move into the dark store model? What are the financial implications? So you have the same trading area of 3,000 square feet, margin of 20%, but your rent actually, because it is not on the high street, you're actually somewhere inside. You may not be paying as high a rent compared to what you would actually pay for a regular store which is open to customers. Salaries, I'll keep the same. Power, again, you don't really need to deck up the store, a dark store, compared to a store which is open to the customer. So again, power, you don't need air conditioning for a dark store. So that is where you actually reduce, and even in the miscellaneous, you actually reduce. So somebody would ask me, okay, then what about transportation? So nowadays, what is happening is quick commerce companies are actually charging for delivery. So the other day, I had a person who told me that for a 100 rupee order, he had to pay around 50 rupees a delivery charge. Right? So that is how they actually make up for some amount of the logistics or the transportation expense. But if you see the whole thing, overall, the break even at the same margin actually comes to less. So that's the financial implication of having a dark store, compared to a store which is open to customers. But anyway, this is the figures on the left are, yes, I am talking from real life experience. The figure on the right, yes, debatable, because you have a factors of transportation and you have factors of manpower. Probably you'll be working in double shifts. So again, but broad, it makes some amount of financial sense to actually invest in dark stores from the company point of view. Now, okay, we were talking about food and grocery. I think very little time left, but this is something which I picked up from. So the one on the left is again something from the news which I picked up recently, and where again, if you see IKEA, which is okay, it is not a food and grocery retailer, but they are into furniture, and they are actually in leveraging their existing physical stores for online orders. So that is not a dark store, but they are actually leveraging their existing stores. And another thing which I saw when I was actually out shopping the other day is this whole concept of you can either shop in the store or you can shop online, or come to the store, shop online, and get it delivered at your doorstep. So that is again something similar, but not exactly a dark store. Okay, and yeah, so this is based on something which came out in the business today, and that is what quick commerce is uh, likely to grow by. Okay, these are again debatable figures because each day something new is thrown up in the media. But broadly, we can say that yes, it is in an nascent stage. It has got huge potential for growth. It has got huge potential for growth, provided they are able to actually penetrate tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 towns. And so these are some of the plan of actions which some of the companies are actually doing, or they're investing as far as quick commerce is concerned. So Zepto is a company which is again, it's a startup. Also, deliveries. You have Blinkit, which is actually now part of Zomato. Again, instant commerce. And you have Frazo, which is actually the fruits and vegetables space. So they actually promise you from the farm to the house in just 18 hours. So that's actually nothing short of magic. And for this, they have a reliable network of 10,000 farmers from whom they source their products. So these are just a few examples of what the companies which are into the space, and that's what Frazo has. Yeah. So okay. So we'll come to the poll results. So I think if I can just show you what the poll results look like. So this was the question which I asked you at the beginning, and I hope you can see the screen, and the majority again 53.3% supermarket, 30% kirana, 16.7% hypermarket with the mall. And to the second question, 80% is an overwhelming majority, 80% who have actually ordered any food, grocery, FMCG product online, and they have received delivery the same day. Now, receiving delivery the same day could be within 24 hours. So it could be 10 minutes, it could be 1 hour, it could be 12 hours, but it is definitely less than 24 hours, maybe even less than 12 hours. So you're ordering in the morning, you are getting it by evening. So we are not getting into the nitty-gritties of that, but back to yeah. So that's what the poll says. That's the poll which you did says. And to end, there is this video which I would like to show, which actually showcases how the operations in a dark store. So I would like to end by saying that yes, it's the notion of I want it now. And quick commerce and dark stores are actually ushering in an era of immediate expectations where time is of immense value. And that is where it is right now. When I say right now, this sector or this phenomenon is just poised to grow. Like I said, it is in very nascent stages right now. And real growth, like we say, is always in rural India. So we'll wait and see how it pans out over there. So these are some of the references. And yes, thank you for the time and opportunity once again. And if you have any questions, I would love to take it. If I'm able to answer that, I hope I'm able to answer that to the best of my ability. Yeah.
Would invite questions, please. You can just type your question in the chat box. We'll take it from there. Since there are no questions as of now, so let me ask you a quick question. First of all, let me thank you for the great informative session, and you used a right mix of pictures, photos, videos, and it was really nice to learn and watch from your session. So it was a great session.
Thank you,
I
sir.
must admit.
Thank you, sir.
So my inquisitive question is, do you think that this concept of dark store actually came from the dark room, that transforming from darkness to light, invisible to visible, or something like that?
Okay, yes, we could think of it philosophically. In fact, the first dark store was actually started in the world way back in 2009, which was started by a retailer called Tesco in the United Kingdom. And so you can see where India is right now. So they are like far ahead. But like you said, philosophically looking at it, yes, probably it borrows from the same concept. In fact, you have the concept of post kitchen also, wherein you are delivering to customers, but you don't know where this is, and it's a kind of it's a mystery. So yes, I think dark store borrows from that concept. Companies don't want customers to see them. Okay, so there is a certain amount of certain element of mystery which is associated with it. Yes, that's fair enough.
Yeah. So, my next thing that I just want to know is that, in 2009-10, around that time,
Yes.
Domino's came up with, the time for the order, and if they could not deliver, they would refund the entire money.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
So that was, I think, the start of quick commerce.
Yes.
And that led to a lot of accidents for the bikers. And Domino stopped that after a lot of accidents globally. So, there are a lot of risks also associated.
In fact, I'm glad that you brought this topic up, because I couldn't cover this in my presentation, given that we had a constraint. But I'm glad that you brought this topic up, because this is one of the topics of one of my papers which I presented. So the actual see, it is not that I am a big promoter of quick commerce. I'm just trying to give you a perspective. I hope I've tried to give you both the perspectives, the advantages and the disadvantages. And the disadvantage here is exactly what you mentioned, sir. That given that there is this pressure to actually deliver within 10 minutes or 15 minutes, so you have these logistics, the drivers actually flout traffic norms, and that leads to a lot of mishaps and accidents. Yes, and that's happened.
And from the customer's end also, right?
Yes.
Say, for example, in a housing complex,
Yes.
it reaches within, say, 8-9 minutes.
Yes.
Right at the gate.
Yes.
And then intentionally the customers delay. So,
Right.
it creates a lot of problems. So
Absolutely.
there are, a lot of challenges, but then
there are a lot of challenges. Like I said, this industry is learning, but I'm sure it will learn, because it has been innovating enough, so much so that I feel they will probably cross this hurdle also. I think it's a matter of time before actually we get to see more and more quick service or quick commerce initiatives or dark stores around us. But it's a matter of time. I think it's
so thank you so much, Professor George, for the great learning. And I had a lot of other questions, but then I don't see questions for the participants. I only see praises, right? Okay. Excellent session, nice session, lovely session, and so on, right? Which actually speaks that everyone actually admired your session. So great, thank you so much. So we'll now close this session, and I
thank you so much, sir.
Our president of AIMS for the opportunity, Professor Sudhir Sharma sir, and all the board members and all of the executives of AIMS for conducting this sessions regularly for inspiring young leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.